Let's now go over to our Park Ji-won at the News Center for further details on this incident. Ji-won, there was some fresh hope here in the nation this morning when it was revealed that a series of text messages sent by survivors on the ferry arrived late last night. But those hopes have been tamped down a bit, haven't they?
Yes, Conn-young, at around midnight last night, some 15 hours after the ship started listing, the messages said they were alive, which did raise hopes that more survivors might be found. However, we must note that there is a possibility these messages were sent earlier than that and were just delivered at a later time. And the authorities are also looking into whether text messages were in fact sent by survivors inside the boat.
We continue to look for any signs of hope in this disaster, of course. Another emerged today with talks about a possible air pocket that survivors may be using to stay alive. Tell us about that.
Yes, experts point out that the vessel has not yet completely sunk, as we can see from the footage, and tip of the ferry is still above the surface, which means there could be a giant air pocket there, an air pocket in which survivors could be using to stay alive. And local media reports here have been talking about a case out of Nigeria last year, where a fisherman survived for 60 hours underwater by using such an air pocket until he was safely rescued. So families of survivors all hope and wish that such a miracle might unfold here in the nation as well.
We're all, of course, hoping for such a miracle at this point. Now, Ji-won, with regard to the search efforts, authorities have started pumping oxygen into the hull of the capsized ferry. Now, tell us what they are trying to do exactly.
Well, they are trying to provide air to anyone who may be alive in the ferry. The Coast Guard began pumping oxygen into the vessel at 12:30 this afternoon, local time, to help increase their chances of finding survivors before they lift the ship off its side. However, heavy rain and gusts of wind hampered search efforts throughout the morning and this afternoon.
Right, the weather conditions, they don't look too favorable in the Chindo area. Now, we have to note that there is a lot of criticism about the lack of direction and decision-making in hours directly after the accident. So what do we know about that?
Yes, unfortunately, human error is being blamed for the fact that there are so many people trapped inside the listing ship. We've heard reports that the passengers were told to remain where they were when the ship first encountered trouble, which runs counter to what safety experts advise people to do in such situations. They should have headed for open air. Also, there are reports that the captain of the ferry, identified as 60-year-old Lee Jun-seok, was one of the first to jump into a lifeboat, abandoning the sinking ship and hundreds of passengers. Experts say that it's absolutely unacceptable that the captain, who should have been remained on board, giving directions, abandoned the ship, along with other crew who also bailed out pretty quickly. The captain spoke to investigators this morning and said he was truly sorry for the passengers and the victims' families. And according to the nation's Ship Safety Act, the captain has a responsibility to remain on board in the event of trouble until all passengers are safely rescued. Coast Guard officials are currently investigating Lee on charges of manslaughter. And it's also been pointed out that a ferry of this size carries 60 lifeboats on board. This is mandated by the law. However, from the footage released of rescue operations, only one such rescue boat was spotted, meaning the other 59 boats had not even been deployed. Experts think this is all because of the lack of preparedness and training, which all boils down to human error.
Now, Ji-won, we still don't know what caused the ship to capsize. There is still speculation that the ferry might have hit a submerged reef or rocks, or we are getting a more solid evidence that it might have made a swift turn and diverted its route for some reason. What do we know about that?
Well, the Coast Guard has released provisional finding this morning on what caused the ferry to sink. They say there was an abrupt change in the ship's course, and this could have caused it to list. Due to this, the 180 vehicles and 1,000 tons of cargo on board to shift to one side, ultimately leading the ship to capsize very quickly. This again is a provisional finding, and it's important to repeat that as the investigation into what happened continues.
There are certainly just a lot of questions to be answered. Right now, we're simply hoping that search and rescue teams find survivors in what really has turned into one of the worst disasters South Korea has seen in a very long time. Thank you, Ji-won, for that. And we are just getting reports that the underwater rescue and search and rescue efforts have been terminated for now because of the weather conditions. So we will get back to you on that as that story develops.